Hey everyone, I was going to make a video later on whenever this is complete, but I've had a lot of questions and I have a few questions of my own, so I really want to get everybody's kind of opinion. First off, I'm going to address some of the questions that I've gotten. So for the clutch shield or accessory shield or whatever you want to call it, we retained the factory Tecumseh. We did flip the accessory plate backwards, obviously because we had the side cover. And we were trying to make this thing as safe as possible, especially for the kids to use, my daughter to do junior pulling with. So that's kind of why we took these extra safety features. You'll see the belt is actually burnt there a little bit. That was from originally not extending these holes here on the top and bottom. So it was rubbing just a little bit. We've got to replace that belt anyway. It's about a ½ inch too long. But all we had to do was just basically drill 2 holes, ½ inch over from where they were. It pulled the bracket back this way enough where we were able to fit it pretty easily. Everything else is, the stock stuff. We didn't have to do a whole lot there. Another question I've been asked is on the throttle linkage. So for these pulling classes for these junior tractors, they are limited to 4,000 RPMs. So you can't really do a whole lot as far as removing the governor. This is a 420, so obviously we could really crank it up if we wanted to, but all I did was, if you look right here, that screw limits the amount the throttle can travel forward. Let me open the hood here and show you. So since we're still running the governor, if you see that's basically idle, as you pull it forward, that screw is all that stops that linkage from traveling. The further it travels, the more RPM you can gain. And we're only going up to 3,900. So for us, it worked just fine. This is going to get a hand throttle and a foot throttle attached to it eventually. The filter is just a typical pod filter. It does have the little velocity stack in there. And we had to rejet to a 1.03 jet because it was running a little bit of lean and we were getting a little pulsing beforehand. We still got to get our filters up here for our breather assembly and also for our fuel. And this is just for this little tack that we have hanging here. That will just get our base RPMs. We purchased this bad boy, if I can get in here and get a shot of it. And that has worked really well. That tells you RPM, hours, and also head temperature, which is kind of a nice feature to have. So the pulley bars are just mounted on the accessory brackets down there, nothing special. And they're also mounted back here where your 3 points are, and they are solid, guys. They're not going, you can get a little side-to-side movement, but you're not getting a whole lot out of there. And I bounced off them. Straight up clutch jumped it probably a dozen times, stood it up, and they hold just fine with my big butt on there. One thing I want to talk about is these are 23 12-12 tires. I really want to go to a 24 12-12 or 26 12-12. So if you guys have any advice on that, I'd love to hear it. Obviously, it's going to need a wider rim. I really want to keep these treads as flat as possible since we're trying to, get maximum traction. And this is a junior pulling tractor, so we don't want a lot of curve in our tire. Obviously, we still have to do the wiring. I'm probably going to do a battery box up here on the front. We already have this 2-inch accessory, so I've already got a bracket made that basically is just going to slip in here, and then there's one bolt that goes up through to hold it. And if I ever need to remove the battery, I can keep it mounted on the tray, just unhook the terminals, unscrew the bolt, slide it out, but it's going to have almost a full-size battery on it. So next question I got for you guys is the exhaust. So we've got the factory exhaust on here. This black was actually before we had the deflector. And we got the deflector off Amazon for I think it was $8. And it just basically channels the exhaust flow straight down. But I really do want to keep it quiet. But I know these mufflers are really restrictive. And I'd really like to do something else. I've got a muffler for a stack in there. And I'd really like to stack it, but I also want to keep it kind of quiet. I did get a header from NR Racing that was supposedly for the clone motors, and it didn't fit. These 2 holes for your studs for your exhaust were about an 1/8 inch too close, and the flange had the exhaust instead going straight up, it tilted back, almost hitting the fuel tank here. So once again, if you guys have any advice on that, I'd love to hear it. And I'd also like to talk to you guys about possibly bumping up the timing on these. I know they sell a lot of timing keys, but if you guys got any ideas, I'd love to hear it. Once again, just a 420 Duramax. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it answered a few of your questions, and I hope you guys can help answer a couple of mine. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.